Hey, I'm Brandon, and this is the Dirt Church Devotional. I want to talk to you today about a story out of Numbers, chapters 23 and 24 in the Old Testament. Give you a little bit of background on this story. Israel is coming through the desert. They've been out there about 40 years, getting ready to go into the Promised Land. And, all the land that God promised them was on the east side of the Jordan. So they're on the west side, and God had told them, you don't mess with these people, leave them alone. They're all good, don't worry about it. So anyway, they've had a couple of people come out after them, and they've defeated the Amorites and so forth. In chapter 20, it'll be 22, Balak, who is the king of the Midianites, or the Moabites, he gets freaked out because he sees how powerful Israel is becoming, and he's just scared that he's going to lose everything. So he contacts this guy by the name of Balaam. Balaam is known as a prophet. He's known as a guy that can curse people and bless people and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, he hires Balaam to come and curse Israel for him. And Balaam has a run-in with the Lord, and you can read his story in chapter 22. He's got a donkey that talks to him, so really crazy stuff. Anyway, Balaam says, look, I'll come, but I can only say what God tells me to say. I can't say anything else. Balak's like, all right, that's cool. So Balaam gets there. Balak takes him up on top of this hill so he can see all of Israel where they're camped out in the desert. And he wants Balaam to curse them. Well, instead of cursing them, Balaam ends up speaking a blessing over them. This ticks Balak off. So he's like, what are you doing? And Balaam says, hey, look, I told you, I can only say what God tells me to say. So, all right, fine. He says, you know what? Let's go to another spot. Maybe if you see just a portion, you can curse them there. So they go, and the same thing happens. Now, 2 times he's trying to get a curse. 2 times he gets a blessing. You think the guy would wake up? No. He says, well, okay, let's go to another spot. So he takes him to another spot where he can only see a different part of Israel. He asks again for a curse, and again, he gets a blessing. I don't know about you, this kind of cracks me up. Every time he's trying to curse, a blessing comes out. In Proverbs, it tells us that an undeserved curse won't come to light. Basically, as a believer, you don't have to worry about people cursing you and whatnot. If it's not deserved, God overrides it, not a big deal. So there's a couple of things that I want to point out about this story that I think is just great. Number one, every time Balak tries to do something against Israel, God turns it around on him. Every time he tries to get a curse, he gets a blessing. And in his stubbornness, he just gets Israel blessed more and more. And I really think that that's how God operates in our lives. Oftentimes, people will come against us, systems will come against us, whatever, come against you. But as you continue to walk in faith and faithfulness with the Lord, God's going to take those difficulties, those frustrations, those hard times, those curses, turn into a blessing. Here's the other thing that I think is just so beautiful to me. In this whole time, now this took several days, in this whole series of events, Israel was completely oblivious to what was going on. They had no idea. They didn't know that Balak was trying to curse them. They didn't know that Balaam was up there trying to curse but ending up blessing. They didn't know that God was intervening. All they knew was they're hanging out in the desert getting ready to go. They're just waiting on the Lord. They're just totally oblivious to his blessings. I really think that when we walk in obedience to God, one of the greatest things that's ever going to happen, and this is going to sound funny, but one of the greatest things that ever happens when we're walking in obedience is nothing. And really, I just mean nothing that we know. God is always working in the background. But you walk in obedience, and one of the greatest things that can happen is absolutely nothing. You get up in the morning and, I don't know, you get a phone call or whatever, you spend extra time in your devotional time and you leave a little bit late, and you end up stuck in traffic because somebody got in a wreck. Maybe you were going to be in that wreck. You don't know. How many things happen in your life that may be frustrating, or you're just going along just having a regular day and you're wondering, boy, does God even hear me? Yeah, he does. And sometimes the evidence is nothing. Nothing you're going to know on this side of heaven. So, I would just say, be encouraged. God's got your back. He's got this. He knows what's going on. Continue to seek him. Continue to trust him. Continue to follow him. And have a great day. I'll talk to you next time.